Hello everyone, I'm Amol Delamde, PhD scholar at Dublin City University and IPIC Research Centre in Ireland. My current research work focuses on increasing the speed and reliability of the internet. Internet has been instrumental in fight against this COVID pandemic and helped us to stay connected with the families and loved ones across the globe while being physically apart. We access the internet on mobile phones, laptops, or personal devices. But do you know how this signal is reaching our loved ones across the globe? There is a whole world of lasers, optical fibers, and many technologies working in the background for us. There is a millions and millions of kilometers of fibers which are laid under oceans and across various cities connecting the world. When we make a video call or a phone call, our signal is converted into a laser light. And this laser light is transmitted through this network of cables and reach the final destination. My current research work focuses on how to use these lasers and associated technologies to improve the reliability of the internet, and especially with the upcoming 5G and next 6G technologies. Also, these lasers and light-based technologies are used in healthcare applications, also improving the environment, astronomical applications, and many more things.
Hi, my name is Carolyn Elliott, and I am part of the Bradley Photonics group in Trinity College Dublin, funded through IPIC. My research is on the topic of upconverting nanoparticles, which take photons of low energy light and convert them into photons of higher energy light. I then take different shaped gold nanoparticles and use them to enhance this emitted light by allowing the light to interact with the electrons in the gold. And they interact with different colors of light, interact with it depending on the shapes of the gold, and we can change them to impact it. These upconverting nanoparticles have really wide-ranging applications, from solar cells all the way to biological imaging.
Hi, my name is Marcos, and I am a part of the Dublin City University's Optical Communications Group at IPIC. My PhD research is on advanced modulation formats for free space optical communications, which is just a fancy way of saying that I'm trying to increase the transmission velocity of information through the air, or even through the vacuum, so without the use of optical fiber. It can be applied for a wide variety of situations, from higher internet speed here on the ground to even communication between satellites. I am currently working on transmission links for short distances. This is a very attractive topic nowadays due to its importance for data centers, which are the brains behind many popular services such as streaming platforms, cloud storage, or smartphone apps, among others.
Hi everyone, I am Rajvinder Kaur, a PhD student with Dr. Kafil Raziv in the Advanced Energy Materials group, and I am part of the packaging team at IPIC. My PhD research is on thermal management of integrated photonic devices using microthermoelectric cooler. First, let me briefly tell you the background of this work. The electronic devices can work in a wide range of temperature, whereas photonic devices are sensitive to temperatures. For example, the efficiency of laser decreases with temperature. Now, when photonic devices are getting smaller and smaller, and because of large-scale integration, it generates high heat flux, which makes it difficult to function a device at the desired temperature. So it's important to remove this high heat flux to maintain the reliable operation of the device. Currently, it is being done by using a large thermoelectric cooler, which is not efficient for the thermal management. So there is a need for microthermoelectric cooler, which can precisely manage the heat. So my work is to first develop thermoelectric materials and then using these materials in the fabrication of microthermoelectric cooler. Now the question is how it works. Well, thermoelectric cooler works on the basis of Peltier effect. When a voltage is applied to the free ends of two non-similar elements, a temperature difference is produced, leaving one side hot and other side cold. In that way, we will be working on managing the heat generated by photonic devices.
Hello, everyone. My name is Carlos. I'm part of the 3-5 group here at IPIC in Tyndall. My PhD research is a bit complicated, but it's quite cool. It's called optical coherence tomography, and it's a technology for medical imaging. So basically it allows you to see the retina, like all the way to your retina using a laser. So it's quite interesting.
Hi, my name is Parnika Gupta. I'm a part of the photonic packaging group at IPIC. My PhD research is based on the investigation of glass as a substrate material for packaging of photonic and electronic chips. Let me start on how I got here. From the beginning, when we talk about packaging, we think about all those black boxes with leads and pins coming out of them, sitting on the circuit boards in our devices. But have you ever thought of a chip that transmits light instead of current? How will we package that in addition to the modulator drivers, the transimpedance amplifiers for photodiodes, and the optical coupling with fiber arrays and lasers? There are just too many things to be considered here. The best thing that emerged in the last decade was a typical gold box for packaging photonic chips. It is well developed now, but it is still very expensive. And as we know, photonic packaging and testing occupies up to 80% of the total costs in the photonics industry. Now, how do we get out of it? Do we think changing the package type can be an answer? Yes. Let's go for the surface mount technology that has been used in the electronics industry for a long time now, and it is quite robust. Will the substrate material that will act as the base for the package be an essential factor? Totally. Because any substrate like glass, it is inexpensive. It would be an ideal substrate material. It would cut down the costs. The checklist that is used in photonic packaging consists of 4 areas, that is electrical, thermal, optical, and mechanical. And we need glass to check all of these properties. Now, glass is a good dielectric material, so it will give you low RF transmission loss. It is good for the integration of micro lenses, lasers, and fiber arrays. It also has a low coefficient of thermal expansion, which makes it a stable substrate. Now, it is a stable substrate. However, it lacks one thing. It is not a very good thermal conductive material. So, because when you're packaging lasers and electronic chips, they need to be cooled down so they don't affect the operation of your photonic chip. So how do we do this? We go towards incorporating copper vias in glass. That would make it thermally stable and it would help with your RF performance as well. The other benefit of using glass is that we will have low crosstalk between the two chips. So it's all about using glass for me, optimizing this material for co-packaging of electronic and photonic chips.
Hi, my name is Sandeep Singh. I am a part of 3-nitride group at IPIC. My PhD research is on design and epitaxial growth of aluminum gallium nitride structures for biophotonics applications. Just to elaborate on that, aluminum gallium nitride is a semiconductor material with a tunable direct band gap greater than 3 eV, which we can epitaxially grow using a €1 million reactor housed in Tyndall National Institute. My project title itself has scientific jargons in it, which I will explain in the latter part of the video. What is epitaxial growth? Epitaxial growth is a technique in which the crystal structure beneath is utilized to grow a new crystal on top of the existing crystal at very high temperatures, around 1000 degrees Celsius. What is biophotonics and an application? Biophotonics is the science of producing and utilizing photons of light to image, identify, and engineer biological materials. Its application helps in determining relevant biological properties of tissues based on the physical properties of the light emitted or reflected therefrom. To summarize my project, I am trying to grow an algan structure which can lead us to a UV LED. This makes this field very interesting.
Hello all, I'm Hema. I'm doing my PhD in Tyndall with Brian Corbett. So my area of research is photonics. I worked for 2 years as project assistant. Then I learned various tools, like I learned various software to design. The same software I'm using in my PhD as well. And I had some experience in fabricating all the chips, the integrated chips. So we do the same fabrication process here.
Hello, my name is Robert Bernson, and I am part of the Photonic Packaging Group at IPIC. My PhD research deals with experimenting on and testing elements of photonic packages when they are either heated or cooled to extreme temperatures to see how these packages perform under this kind of duress.
The best advice I can think of for anyone seeking a career in physics or engineering is, you like science, you like math, or even you like watching engineering programs on TV and want to follow their steps, go for it. It is an achievable goal where you may struggle sometimes, but you will also have fun and learn a lot. You may not end up working on what you studied for, but even if that's the case, a technical degree is not only about the knowledge acquired. It changes the way you think and face problems, and will definitely be useful in many situations over the years. As someone whose background is in electrical engineering, but who is doing a PhD in optical communications, I experienced firsthand how the change in the field of knowledge is relatively smooth. And if you want to study a technical degree, say physics or engineering, but you are not sure which one, do your quick research, and if there is no preferred option, just follow your gut. You will always have the opportunity to change in the future.
The fields of physics and engineering are really exciting fields, which give you the opportunity to work at the cutting edge of research. Physics lets you discover how the world works and apply your knowledge to create the technologies of the future, which is what attracted me to the field in the first place. My advice would mainly be to kind of undergraduates, and it would mainly be on how to get into a PhD, because that's actually been the path I've gone down. But there's a lot of other options out there as well for careers in physics and engineering. There are so many things that fall under the umbrella of physics and engineering that it can be hard to know what to choose. And I advise someone who is interested in it to, try to figure out what topics interest you while you're doing your degree. It's far easier to pursue a career in something you care about and are interested in than it is for something just random. Look into the research topics of professors whose classes you enjoy and see if they interest you. Talk to other professors, talk to other people who work in the areas of physics, engineering, etc. Talk to people who work in other universities or companies, and be on the lookout all the time for PhDs or other job opportunities if that's what you're interested in. Take any chance that you can to do summer internships or placements, for instance, in a university or in a different company, to give you a taste for what a career in physics and engineering would actually be like. When I was doing my own degree, I discovered my interest in research when I did a summer internship with a group in my university. And then I got to experience working in a different group environment when I went abroad to do my final year project in Germany. Another piece of advice I would have is, if you have the chance to go to an undergraduate conference, to go to some networking events or career events, definitely attend them. They'll give you loads of new connections to people in the field and might open your eyes to entire fields of research or industry that you might otherwise never have even heard of. Basically, try to talk to people from all kinds of different backgrounds and keep an open mind. There's a lot of physics and engineering out there for everybody.
My advice to anyone seeking a career in physics or engineering is to really put yourself out there and meet new people in your field, even if doing so can make you feel socially uncomfortable at times. I met my current boss at the Photonics West conference in San Francisco, where I was selected to attend because of my involvement in our school's club, Society of Optics Students. At the conference, I simply went around various businesses and booths handing out my CV. I told whoever was working there that I was interested in working for those companies or possibly getting higher education so I would be a more viable candidate for some of the positions those companies were trying to fill. One of the individuals I gave my CV to happened to be Peter O'Brien, the head of the Photonics Packaging Group at Tyndall National Institute in Cork. And he immediately praised my tenacity and on the spot offered me a position in his group as a PhD student. So after interning with his group over a summer, I found it to be a great fit and eventually joined the group and started my PhD at the beginning of the year. So what I'm really trying to say is networking and outreach are really truly amazing tools that you can use to advance your career in the direction that you're aiming for. And there's lots of opportunities in photonics at the moment. So thank you very much.
Well, the photonic is the science of light, and science is all about imagination. Once Albert Einstein said, imagination is more powerful than knowledge because knowledge is limited, but imagination is not. So this inspired me, motivated me when I was young to choose a career in physics. So my advice to anyone seeking a career in physics or engineering is that if you are fascinated by how science and technology have changed the way of living, how even small devices which you might not able to see visually have impacted on day-to-day life, then you should step in and enjoy pursuing a bright career in it. Light science bring together all scientific fields and drives to discover more in the future. It can give solutions to challenges in many areas because there is still a lot more to explore. Yeah, so this is my little advice. Yes, thank you.
So my advice to anyone seeking a career in physics or engineering is the following. So basic 4 steps. The first one, try to find out what the real applications of basic sciences are. So, you know, a lot of people don't like mathematics very much because they could be a bit boring. But then when you realize that you can do so much stuff with them, maybe it will encourage you and motivate you to learn a bit more. Or you think like physics could be boring, but then you realize that it's everywhere. Now for engineering in specific, I would advise you maybe have a look at the type of industry that is out there. And maybe you like one of them. And for engineering, if you like to be creative or design stuff or solve problems, that is definitely for you. Once you have decided like a topic that you like, I would recommend you to find an expert in the area. So one of the trending topics these days is called biophotonics. And it's basically the area of optics applied to biology. Say, for example, you want to design a microscope, or you want to do an image of a cell, or you want to find out how light interacts with biological tissue. Now, once you find the expert, go and be direct, book a call with them, or maybe a lab visit, obviously when this is available, and ask all the questions that you have. Especially, I would recommend you maybe try to observe the normal routine of a researcher, of a scientist. And then you will probably see, oh, I do see myself doing that for the rest of my life or not. Because once you start a degree, you will probably spend most of your time doing this. Finally, I would recommend you to apply for internships. There are some available here in Tyndall, or maybe you can contact, what I would recommend is contact the researcher directly and maybe ask them, oh, do you think you can have a small project for me that I could do? And it would be interesting, even if you read some of his or her papers, that would show a lot of interest. And then maybe he can contact you with the local student. Maybe he can give you some practical stuff to do. And then you will realize if engineering and science is for you. So just remember, just try to find out the real applications of science, find an expert in the area, book a call or a lab visit, and apply for internships. And finally, like maybe you're not so sure about what's the difference between science and engineering. So they're kind of similar, yet they are very different. Science is basically about discovering and trying to understand like nature. So for example, you can try to understand how and why light interacts with the tissue, whether it's absorbed or scattered. And normally it would be like an experimental setup, then you make experiments, and then you come to a conclusion. And then probably the part where people are a bit, maybe they think it's a bit boring, you need to write articles, you need to defend your ideas, you need to communicate them. If you think this might be a bit boring, I would let you know that I would like to encourage you and let you know that science projects are shifting towards more real applications, and that's where engineering comes. So with engineering, you would take science, and then you would either build like a real setup, develop a software or a machine that can perform something useful. Yeah, so for example, once you have come to understand how and why light interacts, you can build a microscope or an imaging system. So very cool stuff.
There are many streams in physics, like nuclear physics, theoretical physics, material physics. To begin with, we will not have a good idea in which one to specialize in. So I opted for general physics in my bachelor's and master's. So that gives you a bit of time to analyze different things. You can explore what are the different streams available, and then you can specify into one particular thing. When I was doing my master's, I visited various labs. This is especially to understand what I'm interested in. Like that, they would be very interested to show someone who's new to the field. So it's very nice when you go and visit such labs. You see everything that they do. So I would suggest very importantly do internship and do a project work when you are studying itself. Whatever degree we study, work experience is very important when you go ahead to apply a PhD. I think I got the PhD here mainly because of that experience, because so many things that I did in my when I was project assistant, I'm doing the same thing here, but with very minor variations. So I know how it works. I have enough experience there. So you get to know the plus and minus of the work that you're going to pursue. And at the same time, everything, as I said, is a check. Your internship, or when you're doing your project, or when you're working as project assistant, all the things, you get to realize how the field actually is. You meet people, you're going to go to a company, or you're going to go to a research institute where you meet people who are actually working in this field. So you'll see them, what they're undergoing, what kind of life this is. So at some point of time, if you think this is not for me, then you have an option to shift to another stream. So that is why we are taking many steps, smaller steps before joining a company or PhD. And also, it's not that difficult to change field as well, because nowadays there are a lot of integrated stuffs going on. I know people who studied physics, worked somewhere in chemistry line, now doing a PhD in bio-integrated stuff. So it's all science. Before you decide or before you join somewhere, make sure you like that field. So just 3 steps: do some internship, that's very must, and do a project, publish it as a conference paper if possible, make as many contacts so that you'll get to know what offer is available there and how much opportunities are out there. And at the same time, please work for some time, like get some 6 months to 1 year experience in the field that you would like to go ahead. I guess that is all. This should help you out. Good luck. Thank you.
My advice to anyone seeking a career in physics or engineering is, it's all about inclination to learn and pursue your interest in a respective field. What does it mean to pursue your interest? I will talk about myself. I left my well-paid job in telecom sector to start as a research assistant. My journey from a research assistant to a PhD at Tyndall National Institute is a story for some other time. The only reason why I switched was due to my inclination towards light-emitting devices. Later, I came to know that it's a world in itself. There are a lot of things to unravel and many puzzles to solve. Just keep on looking for the missing pieces. A very happy International Day of Light.
My advice to anyone seeking a career in physics or engineering is to look out for the technology advancements. If reading about something gets you excited, it's bound to attract you to work long-term on that project. The technology is evolving very fast nowadays, and we better keep up with it. It also entails being ready for the changes. Change is the only constant where technology is concerned. There are a lot of drivers involved, such as cost, ease of access, time to market, etc. So just keep an eye out for something that interests you, and feel free to reach out to me if you're curious about this research area. Thank you.
Every year, 16th May is celebrated as an International Day of Light in order to recognize the contribution of these light-based technologies in our day-to-day life. As a photonics and optics researcher, I would like to extend my warm wishes to everyone for the same. Also, I would request the young students to take the physics, science, STEM, and engineering as their future career options. Also, I have one basic trick for all of you. So focus on building or improving your basic concepts and skills. Once your skills and concepts are clear, then you can build an engineering or real world application around it. Also, don't be afraid of challenges or setbacks. They are part of the process, and keep spreading the light. Thank you.